All right. Think everything's working properly. Okay. Welcome everybody. Uh Things were off to a slow start today, a little bit. So a little disorganized, but I'll get there eventually. There we go. All right, that works. Yeah, a little slow start today. Hey, Michael. Welcome. How you doing? So, since you're here, I can show. I was working. I haven't finished this painting, but I'm not going to be working on it today. So, let's see, Sony Cam. Um, yeah, here we go. So, haven't finished it yet, but I am not working on it today. Um, I will finish it on my own time when I have time to go in and get all the little details in, because that's all that's left really. Go in and fix the eyes and the what's it called? Eyelashes, the lips, the little strokes of hair and everything. But otherwise, it's pretty much done. So yeah. So today I will be starting something new, and I'm just trying to figure out if I'm going to be starting it on this paper or if I'm going to bust out a new board. And I think I'm going to bust out a new board for it. So looking spooky, yeah. But I gotta switch out from that. I bought this paper and I hate it. Uh, and I'm trying to find ways of making it work. But I'm not gonna bother with it today. So there's going to be a little bit of setup before I can actually start painting today. Unfortunately. What am I painting? I am painting a. I'm going to be painting a. Oh, what's the term? I forget the term. 1 second. Let me see if my brain will work today. It's not at the moment. A forgotten photo. That's it. I'm going to be doing a forgotten photo. So, in case anyone isn't familiar with it, the term forgotten photos uh, refers to photos. Is it forgotten or abandoned? No, found, not forgotten. Sorry, found photos. Found photos. So, yes, found photos. So, found photos refers to photos that were, as the name implies, found. But they're essentially photos that don't belong to anybody, that at least anybody is aware of. It's old photos found in abandoned, storage lockers, or in, in houses that were, sold not by the owners at that point, stuff like that. So I bought some. Um, I bought a. You can buy them online. A lot of it's like I don't want to say junk because that's not very accurate, but it's not good for paintings. But there's a few in here that aren't bad. So you buy these old photos. Yeah. And then I'm gonna turn that into a painting. So that's what I'm going to be working on today. And I can talk about the whole process of, getting ready for getting a painting ready, I guess, since I have to do that right now. How have you been, by the way? I don't know if I asked earlier, but I meant to if I didn't. In the meantime, I will talk about my process of getting a painting ready to paint. So, again, actually, so my easel, I guess. Let me switch cameras again. Okay, so this is a H-frame easel. This right here is just a drawing board that I clip everything to. Or, yeah, clip everything to. And the reason for that is um, the frame isn't the easel isn't always good at holding certain types of certain types of boards or certain types of canvases and so on. And this way I can also put my my palette right next to my painting, which obviously I won't be doing when I work on much larger paintings, but that's for another situation. And then what I do is I take this right here is like a canvas board, but I take any kind of board and I tape my painting to that board so that I can clip the board to the board. I know it's a lot of like things clipped to other things, but the reason for that is I can't clip the painting directly to the board because then the clip is going to be on the painting. So it has to have that. And then also this allows me to remove the painting, keep it on the board so that I can hang it somewhere or put it somewhere to dry and also still bring it back. This isn't something that I think like a lot of, this isn't something I think that like established artists are going to really need, but for people getting into painting who aren't familiar, I figured I'll share it. So now I'm taking a 12 by 16 board that I bought. This is a Da Vinci, I think it's Da Vinci board. Oh, there it is. Yeah, it's a Da Vinci dual surface board. That's it. And it's actually a decent surface to paint on. Honestly, I don't mind it at all. And so I'm just going to take this and I'm going to tape it to another board I have here, and then I can get started on painting. All right. Shoot. I was going to paint on the smooth side, but it's damaged. That sucks. My earbuds are giving me a hard time today. So I use artist's tape because it comes off easy and doesn't damage things. And I just I know it's a very complicated system. I make loops. I stick it to the back of the board, and then I stick the board to the other board. I know, very complicated and advanced system. I just put some in the corners, some in the middle, and that's it. So all taped up, and it's just sandwiching together. Hmm. And it's worth mentioning for my convenience, I almost always do a center line grid. Just makes my life easier. It's a very simple, um, grid, uh, but I find it very helpful. I'm not a huge fan of the uh, gridding out that much anymore. Nothing wrong with it. It's just uh, I find it a little tedious. So I don't do that. But the center line grid is still very useful. As a very loose, loose grid to have. And I'm really proud of myself for remembering to do it before putting the painting on the easel, because too often I put it on the easel and then I try and grid it on the easel, and that doesn't work out very well because the ruler is too long and it keeps bumping into the easel. And it's a huge pain. Good idea. I think everyone has their own ways. Absolutely. And, it's definitely everyone has their own ways, and there's always good ideas out there, like I use a lot of these clips that you can like get at the hardware store, you know. Um if I hadn't seen another artist use these, I wouldn't have known they exist. And so I probably wouldn't have gone looking for them. So stuff like that is helpful. It's also worth, knowing these things, just because I think sometimes people have this idea that you have to buy, special things to situate things, or to, special materials for art or whatever it is. And, man, a lot of times it's just the most basic things. I know so many people who, it's like half of their stuff is made through clamps, tape, and like some random pieces of wood or zip ties and stuff, So yeah. It's very much like cobbled together. It's helpful you're a carpenter. Nice. I wish I was better at stuff like that. I, I'm not that good at, you know, not that good at that stuff. No, all right. Yeah, let's. All right, so we got that in place. Just gonna grab my, um, what's it called? My palette. Man, words are not coming to me easily today. Hopefully the caffeine kicks in soon. So, for my switch cameras again. All right, so for my palette, I have this. It's the large Masterson. Uh, I forget what it's called, like sealed palette or closed palette. Basically, it's just a plastic Tupperware type of thing, right? So I just keep my palette in there. Um, and so I keep it in there with this little thing. This is just like a little container with a cotton ball and clove oil, because it helps the paint dry slower. And then I close it when I'm not when it when I have my palette out. Hey, Salmon, welcome. Hello, humans. Yeah, welcome. And then my palette is just a piece of glass from a hardware store and a cardboard thing. And that allows me to take it in and out easily. And then I just use these to clamp it to my, what's it called? To my easel. How are you doing, Salman? So yeah, so that's how my setup goes. Oh, and this is something, if anyone does something like this, worth mentioning. This little thing right here, it's just a piece of tape taped to the back that folded over on itself. Because you cannot get that glass out of the Tupperware container without it. I mean, you can. It's a pain. So this is just a little pull tab I made for myself. But yeah, so helpful. You're okay? Good. Glad to hear that. I was a little slow getting started today, so I thought I would share with everybody all the little details of how I have my setup, just because I was going to have to set up one way or another. Now, let's see if this is going to work well. Not. Oh, all right. Hey, that wasn't too bad. My camera is at a real extreme angle, so I have to like distort my camera digitally, and that creates a lot of issues whenever I have to move the camera. So glad it worked this time. All right. So I was hoping to use the smooth side of this board, but it's damaged unfortunately. So I'm using the rougher side. So I'm gonna try to put down some oil on it first. Hopefully that'll make the painting process a little smoother for me. All right, I have to check. I have to make sure messages aren't anything important. Okay, it's all good. Today I am painting one of the found photos that I purchased recently. In case you're not familiar with that term, or you forgot, or someone listening came in late, or whatever, found photos are photos that were abandoned in some way. Like, for instance, old photos found in a locker that, that was abandoned and went up for auction or something like that. So they may, like the people that used to own them may be alive, or their family members may be alive, or not. They may or may not know that these even exist. It's that kind of situation. All the photos I'm using are from like the 70s or earlier. So it's all old photos. And the reason I'm doing this is I wanted to find these photos and grab these like snapshots of life, um, and kind of paint like these, I guess, paint memories of people. Um, you know, but they're such universal like moments that it feels like I mean, obviously everyone has different lives, so it won't apply to everybody, but it feels like these variations of your own memories in some ways, or I should speak for myself of my own. So that's kind of the thoughts behind it. Yeah. And to start with, I have this palette from my last painting, and I'm just going to use what I have here to draw it, um, to start off the drawing phase. Purely because I feel like this way I'm not wasting paint, and also because I don't really care what color I use to lay things in with that much. I'm going to eventually, you know, paint over all of this anyways. And I'm probably going to, well, almost for sure, I'm going to take the brayer and smear it all around as well. So I'm not overly concerned with, um, like the colors and stuff I lay in, especially because my palette is so limited. everything's related to each other. The only thing I try to avoid is I will not lay in um I will not lay in a painting with like pure phthalo blue. I've done that in the past. It's not a good idea. So, I recommend this from my experience. Don't lay in a painting with phthalo blue. Or do, I'm not the authority on things. It's just it has a tendency to um, infect everything and um, color everything, and it's just kind of and it's slow to dry, and so it's kind of a mess, honestly, in my experience. Yeah, it doesn't show through directly. It's not like you see the lines through the painting. But let's say I paint white on top of phthalo blue. After a while, you'll realize that the white you put down is kind of a bluish white. It just kind of it just kind of tints everything and overpowers it all. Um, yeah, the only real solution to the two solutions to that is or three, I guess, is either to like hard correct into the other direction, which just makes your life very difficult, um, or wait till it dries and then just cover it up. Or I guess you could just wipe it all off and start over, but I don't really consider that a solution for that type of problem. And it's pretty slow to dry too, which means it takes a while till you can cover it all up. So yeah, it's not it's a great color, but it does have its drawbacks. Other colors don't do that as much. Even strong colors like quinacridone rose, which is a very very powerful color in mixtures. If you I've used that to like draw on my paintings, and then when I go to paint over it, it doesn't um it doesn't tint everything as like phthalo blue does. Definitely using my my comic book drawing background. It's three adults and a kid. Yeah, they're sitting on like some rocks and stuff. Well, they're sitting, she's standing, facing away from camera. And this is all water. I see. Maybe this is the first time you're streaming a painting that has multiple people in it. No, but it's maybe a whole scene. I definitely streamed. I've I've streamed pictures with multiple people in it, but not as not with as much environment. Maybe would be an accurate way of putting it. So this is going to be less portraiture and more like what I would consider figurative, because obviously there are figures in it, but it's not portraiture. There's no like the faces aren't going to be all that important or visible for the most part. Part of the reason for that is like I purposely tried to pick photos that would have this type of scenario because um, I don't want to focus too much on the like a portrait of these people that I don't know. I have a couple that I might do because it's so like this moment in time that I want to capture. So I might end up doing a couple where you can really see the faces. But overall, because these are found photos, that's not the focus of them generally. Like I said, there might be a couple because there's such a strong like moment in time, and it's very hard to replicate that without actually painting the person's features in. Um, so I don't know. We'll see. Not sure how I will handle that. Yeah, your palette looks cool. I can see faces in the paint. Oh, that's funny. I can kind of see it. Yeah. Like this one kind of looks like a face. I can see that. So, all right. The orange, yellow, red one looks like a face of a girl to me. Yeah, I see that. So usually, when people do, I don't know, figurative, I'd say portraits. I guess figurative would be accurate. They tell you to lay in the shadows first, and kind of group them all together. The problem is that doesn't really work very well here. Not to say that there aren't any shadows, because there's some shadows here underneath them and stuff, but it's very, very minimal. So instead, my approach under circumstances like this is to just lay in kind of general colors for everything. And then start refining from there, kind of thing. The blocking the shadows in first. Yeah. Is it called spotting blacks? Okay, so spotting blacks is a little different than blocking in your shadows first. Um, just because spotting blacks to me is like mostly like a comic book term, maybe like an inking term. So it's a little different because it's not always when you're doing oil paintings and you're putting in the shadows, those aren't always black. You eventually go in and paint those areas, but the idea is that you're just compressing all the like dark areas that kind of, like when you squint, all the dark areas that kind of combine themselves. You're just combining all of them, but you do usually go back in and paint into those areas, so it's not like black. It's not like the way it is in when inking. So a lot of times, even in portraits, people do this. So it's like, if you're doing a portrait, you'll lay in you'll block in the dark areas, and often it'll be like underneath the eyes and like one side of the face, but just because you block it in that way doesn't mean that you're not going to go back in and add to it, because you usually you will. It's just the beginning stages. It's an inking term, spotting the blacks. Yeah, I know it from comic books because that's yeah, the inking, but in comic books. But yeah, this painting doesn't have a very strong black or dark pattern. Everything's kind of bathed in light. What I understood from watching painters is shadows in paintings are usually the local reflection color of the environment. Like shadows, a sunny say will have blue in it because of the sky. Yes and no. Yes. When you're outdoors, shadows will have generally will have a blue tint to them because so the direct light of the sun has kind of a yellow color to it, or a warm color to it. But then there's a ton of light coming from the sky in general, which is blue. And so that bounces up. And that's why you get those blue in the shadows. It changes when you go indoors and you don't have that skybox, blasting light out. So if you have a single warm light source, it won't necessarily produce cool shadows indoors because the warm light will bounce off of other things and it will bounce back into the shadows, but it's still warm unless there's a reason for it to change to a cool color. And the same if you have a cool light, there's no reason it would become warm unless it has something warm that it bounces off of. One thing it usually does warm up a shadow is your own skin. So shadows, especially in places that are like between your body, will warm up because your own skin is bouncing the light back. Yes, but in the indoors, if the room is red, what color will the shadow be? It'll generally be reddish. Generally, and it's not perfect because light is complicated. But generally, yes, it will be reddish. But the thing is, like outdoors, for instance, it's also not always that way. So like you get the blue from the sky, but if you're standing on yellow sand, even though you have the blue from the sky, you'll get the yellow sand reflection back into the shadows. This is why a lot of times when you take people, when like you Photoshop people out of their environment into a separate environment, like something looks just a little off. Um, Often it's these like very subtle shadows and lights that are very hard to correct for all the time. I mean, people are getting really good at it, but you know, often it's good because you're not paying too much attention to it. Yeah, they look off. Yes, and in fact, I once did some Photoshop work for a client that they took shots on a green screen. The thought being that you do it on a green screen, you key out the background, and then you have you know, and then you can put them wherever you want. I mean, That's why people use green screens. Um, but the amount of green that is infected into the people from the all the bounced light was insane. I had to do so much color correction on them to get the you know to get them looking okay. Like they look fine on green, but as soon as you take them out of the green background and put them anywhere else, they look like you know, they look green. Like all the people look green. So, yeah, I had to go and color correct that a lot. The other thing that looks off when you do that with green screen is that not only do the people look very um, green, but there's a lack of variety in in all the coloring that and the reflected lights and everything because it's all uniformed. It just doesn't look right. You have to work very hard to make it look real after the fact. Yeah, I'm not going to worry about too much details right now. I'm just going to block in large areas as much as possible. Like even this person here, I'm not even going to worry about them because I'll get to it later. Yes, they look like Wex's statues. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know what you're talking about. The green screen thing. Yes, they do. They tend to lose all the like natural color. I mean, they've gotten a lot better at correcting that stuff nowadays in movies, but it's a lot of work to do that. So right now, I'm trying to get into like I'm not too worried about being like 100% correct on anything. I just want to be close. Like I want to get the value right if I can, and ballpark kind of thing. The reason I'm not overly concerned with being like super precise is because often, like the way Saman, you have to go. Have a good night. Absolutely, man. Have a good night. Thanks for stopping by. Um, so yeah, I'm not super concerned with being all that accurate, mostly because a lot of our vision is what's it called? Like it's relationship based in the sense of like in relation to the other things. So I want to see what everything looks like in relation to everything else on the canvas. Um, Even though I have a map, which is the reference, and if I followed it exactly, like if I matched all my colors to the reference, my painting would look like the reference. But at the same time, the reference is more of a guide, not entirely like um, a blueprint, I guess would be the way I'd phrase it. Oh, and the other thing worth mentioning too is these photos are they're black and white, so all the colors are just guesses. I mean, there's a degree of you know reasonable guesses here because generally we know that like some of the basics, we know what colors they are, and we also know how some aspects of things work, like perspective. What is it? Environmental perspective and so on. But it's still not 100% everything. So all that to say is I take a lot of liberties with these you know with these paintings because I feel like it's appropriate. So one thing I should also mention um, is when I lay out a painting, and I think this applies to a lot of painters, generally when you lay out a painting, unless you're painting very like very alla prima, and what I mean by very alla prima is like you're not going to go back in and adjust a lot of the marks you make right away. Like your first marks are going to be the ones that stay for most of the painting, unless that's your style of painting. But that's not my style. So, and I don't think that the majority of people paint like that. So you want to be careful of laying out thick paint in the beginning because you're going to have to like deal with the thick paint as you paint your successive layers, and that can be cracking aside, like aside from the technical problems where it can cause cracking and so on. It's just a pain, honestly. Like it's a huge pain to try and paint over thick paint, both when it's wet and when it's dry. At least when it's wet, like you have that option of wiping it away. But when it's once it's dry, you have all that texture to cover, and the only way you can really do that is by either just painting over it and dealing with the hassle of it, or scraping it off, which once it's dry can be difficult. So it's worth mentioning to not lay in like super heavy paint in the beginning. I am putting on thicker paint than I would normally because I know that I'm going to go over this with a brayer, and that's going to flatten it all out. So I rather go in with thick paint and give the brayer something to push around versus thin paint and it just not doing much. And I've had people ask me about the brayer before, why and everything. So there's a few reasons I tend to use the brayer. And the reasons I guess are I want to paint loosely, and messing up my painting helps me with that. Because in a couple ways, for one, it makes me less precious about my painting because I'm going to mess it up. So why be precious about it to begin with? And then it's obviously loosened up because it's just becomes a mess anyways that I have to fix. It adds in a degree of like random elements, which I like. And it also helps me with like not be overly concerned with getting everything right because like I'm going to mess it up and go back and fix it. And it also helped me, and I think it still helps me, keep that in mind that I can always go back and fix it. I don't have to worry about what I'm painting. In the sense of like, I don't have to worry about if something's correct or not correct. I can always repaint it and get it right the next time, kind of thing. And if it's correct and I mess it up, not a big deal. I'll just do it again, you know. And that really takes the pressure off of painting. It does have its disadvantages. Obviously, I spend a lot of time correcting, and because I'm kind of messy with things, my drawing tends to get messed up a lot and migrate, and I have to go back in and fix things. Like, you know, features will move around a little, and I'll have to go in and fix it. And it's something I have to be aware of because those features that move influence other things I paint. So if I'm not aware of it, it quickly can get out of hand. And it has sometimes, but you know, like I said, it's not a big deal. So, and the other thing worth mentioning is I don't use solvents in my painting. So, because I don't use solvents, I can't do the thing where a lot of artists do this, where they like tone the canvas. So they'll take paint, mix it in solvent, so it's kind of runny or thin down, and they'll do a wash on the whole canvas. And sometimes they'll rub it out, sometimes they won't. Sometimes they'll use that and like rub out areas to kind of give a toned effect. Some won't. But I can't really do any of that because I would be laying in a very oily paint. And that'll cause problems because of the whole fat over lean thing. Which, if you're not familiar with, it has to do with the painting, oil painting, and how it dries and how it cracks over time or doesn't crack, which is what you're trying to avoid. Anyways, I can get into that another time or later. But because I can't do that toned canvas thing so well, doing this kind of gives me the same effect without using solvents. So I'll drop everything in, I'll kind of block it out, and then when I mess it up with the brayer, it kind of tones everything. It's not exactly the same, and that's fine. It doesn't need to be exactly the same. And it gives me, there's even a third, or I don't know. I don't know the numbers at this point. It gives me another thing as well, which is often what I'll do at that point is after I use the brayer and I block I block everything in, then I use the brayer to mess it up, and then I have to go in and redraw it. At that stage, what I'll usually do is I'll take a photo of it and I'll put the photo in Photoshop with the reference photo. And then I can, overlay them so that I can see where I need to make adjustments, and all the markings that the paint has on the canvas gives me kind of a landmarks to use for correcting my drawing, which is kind of similar to gridding, or there's a term for it, but there's another form of gridding that is uses shapes like random characters and stuff, not so much a grid. But same kind of concept. And it also helps with all these areas of white that are left, to close all those gaps. Or when you tone the canvas, the toning helps, with all those gaps. Because I don't tone the canvas, all of those gaps look very white and, stand out. All right, there we go. Let me make sure my thing's in focus. Yeah, pretty in focus. All right. Stretch. All right. I'll just do the brayer thing, and then I'll probably be taking a little bit of a break. Not saying I'm leaving, but just, a little bit of break. So before I start with the brayer, something I need to consider when using the brayer is how it transfers paint. Because when I put it down, it picks up paint, pushes it around, and then also transfers it as it rolls. I have to keep that in mind, how I want the paint to kind of be transferred. Do I want do I want the yellow to push up? Do I want this to push down? And so on. It's usually not that important, but usually it's also very I'd say, clear. Here I have to think about it just a little bit, how I want to handle it. I think I know. I usually either go up or down because that kind of feels like how light streaks or how we see things streak. Probably influenced by movies, but what I have in my mind. And something you can do with the brayer, which I don't always do, but sometimes I do. You can actually go in and pick up color from your palette and then use it. There we go. Now, I used to, when I would go back and draw in to like, correct the drawing or whatever, um, I used to use a wipeout tool to do that, um, which is this little guy right here. But almost everybody sells it. Has like just silicone edges on it, and you can use it to wipe the paint off. So you can draw with it on the wet paint. Um, but I stopped doing that because I was running into a problem, which so it it creates, wipes out the paint, so it creates a bit of a texture. Now, if you go in and correct all those things while the paint is wet, no problem whatsoever. Problem is my schedule doesn't always let me do that, and when you try and when you leave it, it dries, and then you come back to it. Now you have these lines in your painting that don't look very good, because even when you put paint over them, you can see them. So unless I know for sure I'm going to be going back in and same day get to everything, I usually will paint in um, the lines with paint versus the wipeout tool nowadays. So I just took a photo of it. I'm gonna upload that photo and put it into Photoshop and overlay it so that I can see where I need to correct things. I already know some of the corrections I need to do. Others are harder to see. I'll just, like I said, I'll just use this system to do it. I usually try not to do this on stream, but mostly because it's not very entertaining. That's about it. But yeah, I'm gonna do that today. But first, some stretches. Oh, my back is not happy with me today. Alrighty. So this is why it's not good content, is because I can't be on screen while I do this, because I have to step away. So I'm still here, I'm just not on camera. But I can't talk about it. I can't show it because I'm not set up for that. Um, but basically, I just take the photo, bring it into Photoshop, um, overlay it on top of the photo, and then one thing that I do, which is a little different than some people, I think, is I'll take the photo and I have a filter that's it's a built-in filter for Photoshop. It's called I'll get the name in a minute. I think it's called Neon Edges. Um, and I run that on the original photo to help me get like an outline of all the elements inside of it. And I overlay that on top of my paintings so I can see where all those edges are. There's other filters you can run, and if you don't have Photoshop, you have something else. There's definitely other filters to run. The reason I do that though is um, there's another solution which is to like lay your photo or lay your painting over the photo at like 50%, but then you kind of have to go in and like turn it on and off, turn it on and off to kind of see, like you basically flash it on and off to see what you're looking at, because otherwise you can't really see it. Um, Whereas my solution, I just I leave it there, um, and then I use it just for drawing. I don't use it for painting purposes because I can't see the colors properly. But yeah, yeah, I've done my back in uh, with too much gardening. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. My back has been bothering me lately. I've said this, I think, in the last like three streams that I've done, but I've been neglecting my physical therapy like workouts. Um, just been busy, you know. Uh, so yeah, I need to get back into working out and doing all of my physical therapy workouts for my back and stuff. And you know, it's one of those things. There are reasons why I've been neglecting it. You know, I was sick and wasn't feeling well and so on. But yeah, it's kind of time to get back into it. So yeah, so in the filter gallery, you go into filter gallery, and it is glowing edges. There's also some other ones that can be useful. Um, like I think it is. Let me see. Um, like stamp can also give you like edges and stuff. It's just it's not perfect. None of these things are perfect. Um, Especially like in this one, I'm getting a ton of noise from everything. So, you know, it's kind of a pain, but whatever. Not a big deal. So yeah, there we go. All right. Got that all in place. There's also there's an app called I think it's DaVinci Eye. It can kind of do some of this on your phone for people who don't have access to Photoshop or, don't want to. There's other options out there basically. Yeah, I'm not a fan of gardening. It does wreck my back, generally speaking. So, yeah, um, not a huge fan of it. All right, I am going to go grab a snack real quick. I will be right back. I even have a be right back. What's it called? Screen. Alrighty. I baked some pumpkin bread. I'm going to try and use my stool today so that I, save my back a little. All right, let's see. Not bad. I'm pretty happy with myself. The lay-in is pretty close. Oh shoot. Delivery. Package at the door. 1 second, be right back. Okay, now I'm back. Yeah, Michelle's out today, so I have to take care of everything as it comes up. I'm curious to anyone in chat right now and anyone watching after the fact, any VOD viewers. I'm curious for live streams like this where I'm, painting and working on stuff. What length of a stream do you think is I don't know, ideal or that you would be interested in? Does it matter to you at all? Just curious, what people prefer, if anything. Yeah, just curious. All right, so I'm gonna be laying in, like drawing in any areas that need any kind of correction, which there are a few, but it's very minor. I'm really happy with myself. I laid this in very fast and very happy that it's pretty damn accurate. I'm using a quinacridone rose just because it's easy to see. Laura Desarts says, no preference. I multitask as I listen/watch. So you just do you and what's comfortable for you. That's fair. I suspected that might be the case because that's how I watch streams, art streams. So yeah. Michael says, doesn't really matter to me. Maybe 2 hours at most. By the way, hi Laura. And Michael says hi Laura too. Yeah, I could see but the thing is I could also see it being something of like I'll watch for 2 hours and then leave, but someone else will, if they keep streaming, will come in and watch for the second 2 hours, out of a 4-hour stream, that type of thing. So I figured this was the case. I just wanted to ask, and I don't know, because I would have been, it would have been good information if everyone was like 20 minutes tops. I'm like, okay. Not what I was expecting, but alrighty. Yeah, because like I know when I watch Nicholas Uribe paint, he does it for 3 to 4 hours usually, I think. And I'm often doing something else at the same time. So, it's just kind of becomes background. And if I have to, I, step away and come back and so on. How are you doing, Laura? What have you been up to? How's the arting been going? I love your username, by the way. I mean, I'm not sure it's the like I wouldn't use it personally because I'm like it's not the how can I put this as like professional as I might want to come off as. I'm not. I'm just thinking if ever I'm lucky enough to have like a an article or something written about me. Having said that, I still love your name. You had your full name, and then your daughter said something about not putting your real name for safety reasons. So I whipped up this one. Okay, I have a question for you. Maybe I'm misreading it. But the last part of your name is a joke, right? It's a these nuts joke, but an art version. And I get that, not putting your name out there for safety reasons. It's not. Oh my god! I totally thought of it as one of those. I'm online too much apparently. I am terminally online. Okay then. Oh, I totally misread that. Is it Des art? Is that what it's supposed to be? Is that the pronunciation? And I do apologize. I didn't mean it. It's just how I read it. Like Star Wars games, and I had to make up a character name. I used Cicero Destin Palpatine's quote, and then I started using Des everywhere. People often say it as D's and reference the meme. Yes, that's it's really pronounced Des or Destiny. Yes, I read it as D's, as in the D's nuts jokes. I apologize, but that is what went through my brain at least. And I know what it's like for people to get your name wrong. People get my name wrong like 90% of the time, so I apologize. I know what that feels like. I don't take it at this point. I don't take it personally. I'm used to it. You've never heard of these nuts things? Being an old lady, so I was confused with all the young Fortnite punks were laughing. Oh yeah, no, I I'm online too much, and like people make these nuts jokes all the time. Yeah. I mean, I'm assuming you're probably even. My assumption is you're my age or younger, but even yeah, I watch a lot of different things online. You're 54. You're older than I am. I did not expect that. You think? Oh no, maybe you're a lot older than that and you just don't realize it. Oh, you need to do calculations. No worries. Uh, Michael says, my surname is always pronounced wrong. LOL. Yeah, my my name's always pronounced wrong. People have no idea how to, how to pronounce it. It's just, I get it. I know it's different. I'm not, I don't have like wild expectations. I will say this though, the thing that is funny is when I often I will tell people how to pronounce it and they'll still get it wrong because their brain just defaults to what they know. So I'll tell people my name's Leod and they'll say Leon because they're familiar with the name Leon, and so they just do that, and it's like nope, Leod with a D. And sometimes I'll even get the Leand because they're trying to add the N and the D together, and it's like nope, Leod. Laura says I married an African, so I have a name no one can pronounce. There. I'm not even going to ask you what the name is, both for safety reasons, so because you don't want to put that out there, which I understand, and also, what's it called? I doubt I'd be able to pronounce it correctly from just the spelling. So I'm like, why bother? Yeah, I don't know. I sometimes wonder if I made the right choice or not with just going with my, straight up my name or my like name on my online, presence. That may have been a mistake. Having said that, like it's unique, so you know that's a good and bad thing too. It's bad for for safety. It's great for recognition. Um, oh, it's the name on your Instagram after your daughter told me not to use your real name. She then said, I need to consolidate all my socials to the same name. Make up your mind, kid. She's right about both. Just, yeah, I get that. Well, that's why everything's under Liad. Like, sometimes it's my last name for what happens is some people will grab Liad, but it's not because that's the name. It's like the combination of two names. It's like Leah and then something else. So every once in a while, someone will grab it, and I'll have to go with Liad G. That's why I just go with Liad G for everywhere, so it makes it easier. consolidating it all. But yeah, I like to say I'm if you can get the spelling right, which is, not an easy task, but if you can get the spelling right on my name, I'm the easiest person online to find. But yeah, getting the spelling right is definitely a challenge. Oh my god, the music I'm listening to, just what is going on with this? Let's change that. Okay, that's better. Yeah, navigating online spaces for, art and online presence and all. I'm not good at it. I don't know what the right answer for all that stuff is. I know what, like, they say, but at the same time, it's like, I know so many people who have, or I've heard of so many people who have succeeded despite all of that, or, doing different things. And so, who knows? I feel like all of that stuff sometimes is like a general guidance, but also not the most important thing either. I don't know. I'm working on it. Like, that's why I'm doing these live streams, you know. Um I mean, I should rephrase that. That's part of why I'm doing these live streams. I really enjoy them too. I like talking to people, you know, in this format. I like talking to people online too in a like a verbal way. I don't like messaging, I like calls, stuff like that. The messaging stuff I struggle with. But yeah. I have all these, I don't know if plans are the right word for it, but I have all these ideas of things I would like to do ideally. Um, Unfortunately, a lot of it is predicated on like, growing a big enough audience to be worthwhile kind of thing. Um, and when I say all that, it's what I mean is like, for instance, if I want to do portfolio reviews or critique or something like that, like I think there's a ton of artists who would, benefit from that. Um, Especially if I'm doing it, which I plan on it, for free, just doing like, it would be great to do nights of like art critique or something like that. Um, the problem is if I don't have, you know, anybody participating, well then can't really do it. So that's what I mean by it's like predicated on a following or on viewers or whatever. I mean, of course, if there's like one person who wants a critique, I can still do it, but realistically, you know, it's one of those things that benefits from having more people. Aha! This is a place I messed up on. All right. I pretty much thought this was a little bit of a mess up when I was doing it, but well, not when I was doing it, rather a little bit afterwards. I thought it was a mess up as I was doing it. I wouldn't have done it. But yeah, the online stuff, you know, like I think I've said this before. I have no expectations of becoming a YouTuber who makes money off of like, AdSense and sponsors and stuff like that. Like, and that's okay. I'm not looking for like for that. It's okay if that never happens because I'm a painter. Like I'm not a YouTuber. I'm just I don't think I have the I don't know. I don't think I'm suited for it basically. Although, just putting it out there, if Raid Shadow Legends does want to sponsor me, I will totally do that. Just saying. I don't play the game or endorse the game. I think it's probably pretty harmful to people overall, but like, I'll sell out for it. That's fine. I get the feeling though that they're not going to sponsor me for many different reasons. That just a hunch I have, you know. So this is the part I think the most important part that I like, that's an important area that I messed up on a bit. This is there's a child here, and I think I messed up on their you know sketch or laying them out, whatever. Laying them in, yeah. But not a big deal. So some of this stuff got messed up because of the brayer, which is, intended. Hi, Winnie. Oh, we have a cat. Everyone, there is a cat. Hi, Winnie. She does not like to be picked up. So we're only going to get a very short on-screen time. So, just letting you know. Incoming cat, very limited time. Oh, little girl. Hi. Yeah. Oh, you're such a fluffy little sausage girl. I know, you don't like it when I pick you up. And you want attention. But you want it under your circumstances. I know. I know. I know. It's okay. You gotta get used to it, little girl. Yeah, she's a sweetheart. She comes and sits on me for attention. I just can't do that right now because obviously I'm not sitting. So I can't have her like lay on me and stuff. Otherwise I totally would. All right, little girl. Laura says, I have been attempting to declutter and throw out stuff I don't need. I have big storage bins full of old, cheap bottles of acrylic paints, so I'm going to be giving them away. I have better quality big tubes so I can mix my own. Oh, nice. So that was Winnie. Yeah, we have 3 cats. That was Winnie. Cats are so silly. Like, they're such a silly animal. Or pet, or whatever. Like, they're so ridiculous. In so many ways. But, like, my cats, they... Late at night, I'll be up late. I'm a night owl. So I'm up late. Michelle's asleep. I'm in my room working, either painting or on the computer, whatever it is, right? And they will go outside they will like go in the hallway outside my room, or they will go downstairs at the end of the stairs and yowl for attention. It's like they know where I am. They could just come for the attention, but no, they have to cry for the attention. And then when I go and I'm like, I go look at them and I'm like, what's going on? Then they'll come running up and like come to spend time with me. And I'm just like, why are you so stupid? Like, you could just come right to me. You don't have to do this whole yowling thing. Laura says, we have an outrageously clumsy cat. He is the least graceful cat I've ever seen. Yeah, we have a disaster cat of our own, Dresden. He is disaster cat. He likes to get into things. I wouldn't say that he's always clumsy, but I'm not saying he's clumsier than your cat, but he likes to get into things, and even things that could kill him, so we have to be very cautious and look out for his safety, because he definitely won't do it. Like, he likes to eat things that could kill him. So we have to be careful about that. And I don't just mean like what's it called? Like food that could kill him, because I know that's something that happens. Like, they'll try and eat something. I don't think cats really like chocolate, but dogs will eat chocolate, and that's bad for them. But like, he'll eat string, or wires, or metal twist ties, or just silicone anything almost. Um, yeah. Um, yeah, one of our cats has eaten through so many cords they're plugged in. He fried a laptop or two, three strings of Christmas lights, etc. Yes, exactly. Yeah. Dresden will, if I leave, like the drawstrings of any, you know, like shorts or anything like that that has like or like a hoodie or any drawstring he comes across, he eats. He just eats them. Michelle left um what is it tank top somewhere once, and he just ate the whole strap. And that's very for anyone who doesn't know, that is very dangerous for cats because it can, if they don't break it up into little pieces, it can get twisted up in their intestines, and it can be very dangerous for them. Uh, it's not the it's the shape and form of it. It's not the like cotton. Yeah. Apparently, the rubbery stuff on charging cords has corn syrup in it. Really? I did not know that. Interesting. No, Dresden likes silicone. Like 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 a their cat litter has like a silicone mat in front of it. Um and he eats that thing and like plays with it and drags it around the house, and we don't use it for what its purpose anymore because he keeps like moving it out, so just let it be, kind of thing, and bought something else for that purpose. Yeah, I didn't know that about the corn syrup stuff. That's interesting. um I could imagine that to be the case though. Right now I'm putting in squiggly marks of things that I have no clue what they are. It's just like stuff in the background that I can't really understand what I'm seeing. So I'm just like putting in the marks. Uh, and when I, take the filter off, I'll have a better idea of what I'm actually doing. Uh, which is fine because I also don't plan on putting in a ton of detail in the background anyways. So I'll just like I'll be suggesting the background more than I'm going to be painting the background. I once rescued a rabbit from our neighbor had a bunny that they kept as a pet, and one day we saw it had gotten out, and the neighbor wasn't around. So this years ago, but we me and my girlfriend at the time, like I said, someone else, previous girlfriend, we you know um what's the word I'm looking for? We corralled it into our apartment. Um, and we corralled it into like a one room, and closed the door and left it for 5 minutes to go like call the neighbors and stuff. In literally in like 5 minutes, it ate through like two electrical cords. Uh, yeah, freaking rabbit. Oh. I'm tired today. Yeah, a lot of times after streaming on Sundays, I like completely crash. I don't know if it's um like it has to be the effort of streaming and painting at the same time. Because uh I know I can paint for as many hours as I do without crashing. But on the weekdays it doesn't happen to me. Usually I stream for less, but yeah. I don't know, not sure. I would like to be able to stream for like 4 to 6 hours on the weekend. It doesn't all have to be super productive hours. Like, I'm okay with some of it being talking and going over things and, even taking a break and eating a snack on stream. That's fine. But yeah, I think I would like to ideally do like a 6 hour stream. That way, some people can come in and out, or, people in different time zones and everything. So, yeah. All right. Time to do some stretches. Laura says, when I was streaming art, I could go for just about an hour and a half, and then I'd get a headache and lose focus. So I couldn't do a long one. I could continue the art, just not streaming at the same time. Yeah. No, I get that. I don't know. I think it like at night I stream on weeknights. So I stream on Monday and Wednesday night after work. And I stream usually about 2 hours, give or take. And I don't usually feel like super exhausted after those. Or rather, I don't feel more exhausted after those. But when I do my Sunday streams, like I'll do the stream, and then when I get off stream, I'll usually go eat something or whatever, and then I just kind of crash and like pass out and take a nap. And by take a nap, I mean pass out. There's very little that will keep me awake at that point. Um, so yeah, but I've definitely streamed in the past for like 4+ hours when I was on Twitch. I think you get used to it the more you do it. So I definitely think that's part of it. I do think it would be a lot easier if I had you know, a setup the way Nicholas Uribe has, where he streams with Danny, so he paints and Danny is there with him, and she takes care of chat and everything. I think that would be helpful. Mhm. Mm. But it's all good. You know, I'm trying. Like I said, I'm trying to kind of develop that muscle again. Um, yeah. I always think it's funny when I mix paint and then I put down the paint and it ends up being almost identical to what's there to the point where you can't even see that I put down paint. I just find that humorous. Definitely need to put out some more blue at some point. Laura, were you streaming on Twitch or on YouTube? And do you still stream? Or do you like occasionally or it's just curious? It was Twitch and no, I haven't in a while. Yeah. Yeah, it's tough. And it's definitely hard to keep, streaming regularly. It's very challenging, especially when it's not bringing in any significant money. You know, it adds a lot. You just haven't been consistent. Oh, absolutely. It's very difficult to be consistent, is what I was, saying. Like it's very challenging to be consistent. And especially when the financial side of it isn't there. I'm assuming, because most people you know, don't make significant money from streaming. So I apologize if you were. That's amazing and great. I just, you know, generally you're always having technical difficulties, which makes me avoid booting it up. I can see, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I always state this fact, and it's not a bragging thing. Um, I was in like I forget what it was, like the top uh I don't think it's 10%, but maybe like, you know, top 20% or top 10%. I can't even remember the number right now of streamers because of how many viewers I had on average, which was like, I think I averaged like 15 a stream, overall or something like that. I can't remember the exact number. And that's kind of my point. Like, it's not a big number. I didn't have a huge following. I appreciate all the people that did come by, and I made I think I made some really great connections, like friends and stuff like that through it. Um, but you know, my point is that even with that small number of like views and viewers, I was considered like a top whatever percentage of streamers, which is just ridiculous because I wasn't making almost any money from it. Um, so a lot of people stream to 0 viewers on Twitch, or to 1. So, and I mean, I've had that here on YouTube too. YouTube's worse. It's even harder to have viewers on YouTube or live streams. And yeah, technical difficulties is a constant with this. Like it really is. By the way, if you want to get back into it, I'm happy to try and help you with any technical difficulties you have. I'm not a tech expert, but I can fumble my way through a lot. Oh, it's making sure the digital tablet drivers are updated, the graphics card, OBS is updated, the plugins are all the right ones, etc., etc. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I'm familiar with that, all that. The thing that kills me, uh that's like the worst. This is the thing that just drives me absolutely nuts is I'll get everything working. Everything's working perfectly, you know. And and then Windows will do a automatic update, even though I told it not to do automatic updates. I can't get it to stop doing automatic updates. Um, and so then it'll just do an update, and then everything is broken. And it's like, okay, so now I need to update, the drivers for the, like you said, for the graphics card. And then OBS doesn't work anymore. And then you update OBS and the plugins don't work anymore because they're only for the older version. And it's just this cascading effect of everything breaking. Oh, and the audio. Oh my God, yeah. The audio is the one that happens the most to me. It's like everything will be working fine, and then there'll be an update that goes through, and then all my audio breaks and nothing works. And it happens the most with audio. It would get me down, so I stopped streaming, Laura. Yeah, I get that, Laura. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, I get that. it definitely is frustrating. Yeah, that's why I try not to move anything, but like not to get too much into things, but like right now I have to take some photos of one of my paintings because I'm going to be shipping it out. And I want to take good photos of it, so I want to take photos with this camera up here, this one. But that means moving it. And I don't want to move it out of its location, so I've been avoiding it. You might start again. It would give me something to do instead of wasting my time playing video games. I mean, there's no need to throw out, like it's okay to play video games, just saying. But I know what you mean. I get it. What have you been playing lately? World of Warcraft, I have way too many maxed characters. Just doing the same stuff all the time. Need to get back to my art. Well, yes. World of Warcraft is a scourge on your time. Um, yeah. And look, I'm not going to say don't play, I've been playing Lies of P, and I'm trying to like get all of the achievements or whatever. So I'm like on my third playthrough because you need to play through it 3 times to get everything. But after that, I plan on putting it aside for a bit. But I will be playing the hell out of Elden Ring when the DLC comes out. But yeah, I support you getting back to doing your art. I tried to play World of Warcraft a long time ago. I could not get into it. which I think is probably a good thing. Huh. Well, that was interesting. My what's it called? My friend, my upload is like fluctuating a lot right now. Yeah. It's just like bouncing all over the place. Huh. There's really not much I can do about it. Um, yeah. I hope it levels out. Looks like it's leveling out now. I don't know what that was about. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Oh, it's just bouncing all around. Yeah, my bit rate is all over the place right now. I don't know what's going on with that. It looks like it's leveled out now. I don't know if it'll return or not, keep bouncing around like that. Hopefully it wasn't too bad. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard for me to tell if it's like my internet connection or if it's my computer. Like my computer can run OBS no problem because um what's it called? It's not doing anything else, right? Like I don't have I'm not playing video games while running OBS. So the streaming part of running OBS is not difficult. But there might be something happening with the Ethernet cable, with the Ethernet you know, port that like after a certain amount of time of uploading it like has a hard time cleaning out the you know, I don't know, the like cache memory or something, and so the bit rate drops as it tries to fix that. I don't think that's what it is. I think it's my internet connection is just going wonky for a bit. Which, you know, I have even less control over than my computer, so I don't know what to do about that. I can't exactly afford like some crazy, you know, dedicated upload. What, you know, I don't know what I would even buy, but like yeah. I don't know if that's available where I am, and I don't know that I could even justify paying for that. All right, if this keeps up, I'm gonna probably end stream a little earlier than I wanted to because it's just nonstop, like cutting out. You're gonna have to go anyways. You've been unwell and wearing down. Need to shower and nap. Okay, but before you go, if you're still here, before you go, I don't know if you'll be able to see this, but there is a cat. Oh, baby boy. Big boy. No, you. Justin. Yes. Oh, the connection's so bad. I don't know if anyone can even see this. Boy, you're such a pretty boy. Okay, Justin. Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm gonna have to call it a night. My internet is not pulling itself together. Um, which sucks, but you know, it happens. Um, yeah, I think the painting so far went pretty well. He's very nice. Yeah, he's a sweetheart. I love him so much. Um, so yeah, I will be streaming tomorrow night and Wednesday night. Yep, that's the schedule. So anyone's around, you know, stop by. Anyways, Laura, I hope you feel better, and I hope you get to do some art once you feel better. Yeah. Have a good one, everybody.